את הפאנל בנושא השקעות בחדשנות בתחום המים בישראל. אחרי הפאנל אנחנו נצא להפסקה והמושבים יתחילו בדיוק בשעה 12:30.
Hello everyone, so we will speak in English because we have guests from international guests. So we'll speak about startups and investment. Are there any startups in the room? Can you raise your hand? I can see, no, should be more. Please raise your hand, any startups. Anyone thinking or dreaming or have an idea or want to open a startup in the future? Please raise your hands. Okay, good. Any investor in the room? Please raise your hand. Okay. Okay, there are more investors than startups, by the way, so it's a great opportunity for us all. I hope by the end of the session we'll have more people that want to open startups because the world needs startups, and if we want to do what we heard here from Yossi and from Hezi, we need to have more technologies. So I start with a short story of myself. I started in the water sector 20 years ago as a wastewater engineer in a Sorek wastewater treatment plant. It actually took around 10 years with $50 million to build the Sorek wastewater treatment plant. And when I was founded Kandu, I didn't know it will take around 7 or 10 years and around $40 million to build the company that we built. We have raised around $30 million and the rest came from our clients. And we sell to all over the global the world. We sell to the US, UK, Italy, and it's really fun and great to come to countries and to bring Israeli technologies, very innovative technologies that can protect treatment plant using AI and sophisticated sensors, and to come to the world and to show that we as in Israel have something else to offer to the world, not just words, but also advanced technology, a thing that can help and change and improve the world. And I will tell you that this is a great journey and very exciting and very fun, and I hope that everyone here that stays in the room will end this session and say, I want to do a startup. Okay, so let's think about investment. Here, join me in the discussion, my favorite investor from Israel, Adi Wagman. She's managing partner E44, very successful VC. And we have here straight from the Silicon Valley, from the Bay Area, Peter Ulis that joined us. Thank you, Peter. And Peter is the managing partner of Echo River in California. We have also here Ariane Adalat, sorry. And he's a CEO of a very successful startup, Active Membrane, that produced amazing membranes, and also raised quite a lot of money, so he will speak about successful companies. And we also have here the richest person in the room, which is Asaf Aaron from the government of Israel, from the Innovation Authority. And Innovation Authority is a key player in the startup ecosystem in Israel. Hello? Yes. So we will have an open discussion, and one of the nice things in working in the water sector that we are a community, and it's the great people ever that work in this sector, and it's really fun. So let's have an open discussion. Adi, you choose to invest in startups in water. You have 2 startups in water in your portfolio. Why did you choose to invest in water, and what makes a water startup successful?
Thank you, Ari. So our main agenda in E44 Venture is to invest in deep tech, climate tech startups with a clear mission for decarbonization. As water is one of the critical infrastructure and a key, let's say, player or ingredients in this mix, we invested in a couple of companies, one named Xfloat, which does floating PV on water reservoir, with great success, including sales in the east, where they have a lot of challenges of energy and water. And in GigaBlue, which does decarbonization through unique particle mechanism into the ocean. So I think that for us, and this is something very important that I'm discussing with my colleagues, and Peter, I'm happy to get your view about it. I think that when we're discussing about water, we're trying to put it into buckets, which usually it's not the case, because it's not just desalination, it's not just what Mekorot is doing. It's very vast. It's our ocean, it's the entire water system, it's how we take the water in, it's how we use the water in industrial and other application. It's very, very vast. It's marine, it's the waters themselves, and we need to think about water as a platform and not just, I think this conference is great, but is very, engineering approach, okay? And everything we see here outside is usually some kind of membranes or some kinds of valves or something around the engineering approach. But it's much, much bigger than that. And I think if we put this in mind, we will understand that water is bigger, almost as energy, if not equal. And energy is one of the biggest industries in the world. So I think this, it's very under-tapped sector, but with great premises, and everyone start to understand that it's a critical infrastructure. So as such, and I think Yossi before me spoke about it, it's a key aspect to resilience, and this is how we view it in the long term.
Thank you, Adi. And if Adi invested in 2 companies, then Peter invested in more than 20?
27 companies so far.
27 companies, all in water. And Peter, you are in the center of technology you can choose everything. I mean, in the Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area, you have all the high shining technology and you choose to invest in water, 27 companies. So tell us, why did you choose water and what makes a water company a successful company?
So the question is, why water and why invest in water now? So as someone who's been in the water industry for 35 years, I can tell you we are at an inflection point and the world is waking up to what you Israelis already know. And if you're in this room, you are very, very fortunate because the world understands this is a huge market valued at $7.5 trillion. And last year was the first time that more than $1 billion was invested in venture capital and water tech alone. This is a huge milestone, and this is the first year we've had more than 6 exits in the water industry worth more than $1 billion each. So we're talking big numbers, we're talking venture capital, Silicon Valley style numbers, and you here creating innovation in Israel at Kenneret are in the right place at the right time. And it's really incredible what you are all doing here because you are at the forefront of new technologies that the world wants. And I think that, I'm here today, but there are a half a dozen or 10 more venture capitalists right behind me who are going to be here in this auditorium next year. I'm going to tell them to be here. So I'm really excited about what's happening. And just very briefly about what our investment thesis is at Echo River is we're investing in what I call the 3 Ds of water tech, which are to digitize water information, to decentralize water and wastewater treatment, and to decarbonize the water cycle. That's what we're doing for impact and for market rate returns.
Thank you, Peter. And thank you for coming here. Asaf, now, hi. The Water Innovation Authority is very important, taking a very important role in supporting companies and in their growth. Can you share with us a few success stories in water that where Water Innovation Authority was involved?
Hi, everyone. So I'm not in Bar, as you see here, and I think she apologizes she's not here. She's in the Knesset today, so I'm filling up for her. But Inbar was leading a project, a very nice project of piloting. In this pilot program, Mekorot was one of the government company that joined, and there are a few success stories from this program. One of them is Explode, as you mentioned, and there were a few others that also did this. there is another program now being just closed in this September, and they're about to launch it. It's going to be a little bit different. If it used to be before that it was us taking a company and taking a government entity and putting them together to do a piloting, this time we're choosing the operator, and government entity can compete and can apply, and that's what they did. And we had a lot of submissions, and we will see this program starting to run again soon, and bringing a lot more companies to do this thing. So Explode is one example. There are 3 other companies, which I wrote to myself because I didn't remember them all. I can say that those companies like Blue Gin, Rotec Rivers, and CQM, these are all companies that did this pilot program and had a great benefit of using this program. We also put the piloting in the 3 new courses that we have, the pre-seed, the seed, and the round A. All of them involve, you can basically, when you apply, you can involve piloting, and you can put it in your budget when you apply to Israel Innovation Authority. So it's also something important to notice if you're planning to apply to the Israel Innovation Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Asaf. And for all the entrepreneurs, I think as Israeli, we are very lucky to have 2 things. First, we have great water utilities here. Some of them are sitting here, that allow us to try and to implement our technology, which is not obvious. By the way, if you come to US utility and want to try something, I mean, they will not agree. The second thing is that we have the government to support us, and Chazi Bilik is here. Is Chazi? Yes, Chazi, can you stand? We all in this industry own a lot to Chazi and to the program that he started or he supported in supporting startups. And we have the government to support us in early stage through the pilots program. And this is a great tool, so use that. Thank you. And Ariane, you are CEO and co-founder of a very successful company, just started by yourself. Can you tell us first what you're doing, because what you're doing is incredible first, and then tell us what makes you a successful company, and how did you get to the important milestone that you got?
Yeah, well, thank you. Active Membranes is an earlier stage of startup, still, yeah, 3 years old. And what we do is we make a smart desalination membranes, reverse osmosis membranes that can inhibit the scaling and fouling because they're electrically conducting. And we've had some traction for a number of reasons. When you're an earlier stage of startup, you need an ecosystem of early adapters, good investors, non-dilutive funding, which are strategic to give you opportunities to test your technology in environments that they need to be tested. All of those are very important, and Active Membrane has been fortunate to have all of that all at once over the past 3 years. And it's important to understand that no matter what technology you have, and no matter how good you are or bad you are, you need brave people, brave organizations, progressive organizations who would give you a shot, essentially. Because everybody wants to be second, especially in water, very conservative industry. And from now and then, organizations come along that would choose to be first. And they choose to be first either on their own, or as in a startup, we have to bring some level of funding and help them to be the first. So as a founder of a startup, I always look for those organizations. We have found many of them here in Israel because it's such a progressive, when it comes to water, it's such a progressive industry, and it's very helpful. You know, yeah, that we've been lucky to have early adapters and good partners, and we have to continue to develop that ecosystem. So my 2 cents in here would have been that Give the startups an opportunity. If you have a platform that can help the startups prove their worth, prove their technology, either in terms of early adoption, piloting, or funding, you have to support, because the startups without support, they wouldn't go anywhere.
Thank you, Ariane. And we can't speak about technology today without speaking about AI, of course. And I want to start maybe with you, Peter. Since you made some research about AI and water and the connection between them, can you share with us some of your insights about it?
One of the things that we do, right, is do a sector scan, and we decided to focus on the single largest increase in water demand over the next 20 years in the world, which will be AI cooling needs for data centers and hyperscalers. So we hired a Tiger team over the summer, and we produced and published a report, which you can find on the LinkedIn page of Echo River Capital. It's there now, and we've identified a number of probably 20 different technology types by technology readiness level. What we're looking for is the next emerging technologies that are not being used today in current convention development. So things like immersion cooling, on-chip cooling, a new recycling of water, closed loop systems, things that are not being done. So what we're trying to do is reduce or improve the water use effectiveness of hyperscalers. Currently the average is about 1.6 liters per kilowatt hour used in data centers, but the best today are down to about 0.2 liters per kilowatt hour. So there's a huge amount of improvement that can be done. And even things like active membranes, which Echo River is proud to be an investor in active membranes, can be used in data centers. Another technology that we've invested in is in a company called Uruvu Labs, which does atmospheric water harvesting based on waste heat from data centers to power it, and then use the water that's created to send back to the data center for evaporative cooling purposes. So there are a range of different technologies that we've identified in this report that aren't being implemented yet, and that can be. So I'm really excited about this area, and I just want to add one more thing, which is that hyperscalers and the companies that you know, the biggest companies in the world today, are investing huge amounts into energy and water today. I can say I was talking with Amazon last week. They have hired over 100 water experts to work just on this problem globally. They are investing huge amounts in technology to improve water use effectiveness and in water replenishment. I talked to the head of water for Meta last week also. They've done 60 projects so far just in nature-based solutions to offset their water use consumption. So this is a huge growth area, as you already know, but I'm telling you, I'm just sort of putting an exclamation point on it. These will be your customers of the future. They have money to spend, and they're spending it.
Amazing. There's a new market just born and strive for new technologies. Amazing to hear. And Adi, how AI influence what you do?
So I would say that in respect to what Peter mentioned, we did recent investment in nuclear energy for hyperscalers. So we cover it from the other hand side. But I think that when we are looking at AI, we are a deep tech hardware fund. We usually find companies and invest in companies that does the mix, okay? So it's both hardware and AI. So for example, in both GigaBlue and XFloat, we have a lot of models based on the unique data properties that they have. And I can say that in XFloat we found that it's not only the hardware that increase the developer energy use, but also we can use it for more applications. And in GigaBlue, everything that's related to the MRV application is used through robotics and AI, and where we actually deploy our particles. So we usually use AI or look at AI as part of the ingredients for the technology. In the aspect of the water sector itself, we are intrigued by more software and AI approaches rather than hardware one. We don't afraid of it, but we think that there is a lot of technology that can be used in terms of AI for the benefit or make it more efficient industry.
Cool. And Ariane, membrane technology, does it have to be any connection to AI?
Absolutely. We're making, our vision for active membrane is essentially make membranes that can think. They can learn from their behavior and they can alter their behavior. You can do that only when you enable membrane to have a means of communication with you. You have to talk to the membrane, right? Yes, it needs to talk back to you. And the way we do it is by making membrane electrically conducting. That's the way we do it. So over time, as we put these membranes in operation and we collect the data, we learn the language of communicating with this membrane. And eventually, it would enable us to instill into membrane a sense of self-adoption. Nowadays, and traditionally, everybody here that operates a desalination plant deals with a membrane that is essentially an unintelligent plastic. It doesn't think, it relies on a lot of pre-treatment steps in order to be able to run in its most efficient space. To us, when we started active membrane, that was the limitation of adoption of desalination at any scale, not necessarily in the mega plants here in Israel, but also smaller plants that would help. So for us, making the medium smart so it can communicate and can adaptive learning in order to be able to improve its performance is going to be the future of our company. However, on a personal level, as a founder and CEO of a small startup, I don't have them too many times and I have too many things to do. So use AI for your own personal scheduling and your own personal work. It makes you a lot more efficient and has made me a lot more efficient. So.
Thank you, Aaron. And Seth, what can you say about AI and the Innovation Authority, and how does it impact how you look at companies in the Innovation Authority?
Oh, so for AI, I have to divide my answer. So Israel Innovation Authority is trying to put the money where we see there's a market fail. So if it's a software company that you can get an investment pretty easy, then I think the Innovation Authority will choose something like Adisa. They will choose something that involves deep tech and AI. This is one aspect of my answer. The other side of my answer is that I'm actually here because I'm focusing on Horizon Europe, which is the European program. And the cost proposals that I'm working on are not bottom up, are top down. Basically challenges that the EU Commission is publishing. Over there we can see an overlap, and we can see that in critical infrastructure they would like to see a holistic solution that involves AI and involves other stakeholders. So you can see in many cost proposals AI involved, but there's also a request for a holistic solution that includes also deep tech or include other solutions. But we can definitely see AI aspect in across almost every cost proposals that we see. I also deal with energy, so you can see it in energy, but water, of course, and other critical infrastructures. And there's also another side of AI, which I can tell you about, is that we are trying to deal with how applications are being made by AI and how do you check those applications using AI. And this is a whole different story that I will leave for a different panel.
Thank you. Any question from the audience?
How do you see specifically Israel as supposed to be a hub for water innovation, climate innovation, all those kind of things you deal with AI compared or balance with what happens in climate?
I want to say that I want to say the good things, but I want to be very realistic. We are investor in both Israel and EU, and this experience exposed me to the pockets of excellency in the EU. And I think also we see a driving force from our neighbors, and I choose to call them our neighbors, because anyone that will put these glasses on his face and see them as our neighbors will understand the biggest opportunity that Israel has over the coming decade. If you continue to call them enemies, we're in a different situation. But these countries are now moving the economy because they have zero innovation and they have only money. This is the only coin they have, and they want to be a world leader. So Israel has all the ingredients, and we are still a water nation. We are still very much advanced in many, many areas. But if we will not invest in what was spoken 2 panels before me, in the infrastructure, which is education and industry working together, and the government, we will not be able to close the gap. And in a fundamental AI, by the way, currently we have like a very small time in space to cope with it. But if the government will not put all the billions which are needed, we will not be able to come across. And I think there is a big leaning forward in deep tech, which is also the fundamental of the Israeli high tech and what will be the Israeli, let's say, horizon. But I still think that everyone around the table need to put their hands together, which is the private and the government sector and the industry. And if this will not be done, we cannot continue and be leaders. And I think, again, we're in a very specific point in time that we're still ahead of the game, but we need more money power. It's not firepower, it's money power, and this is the only power to make us go faster and better in this aspect.
One of the things that I'm doing is investing at inception or formation stage, which means I go and spend a lot of time in the laboratories at universities. And I think that I've been looking speaking personally, looking for investments here in Israel for several years, and I haven't made any yet. And I think for me, that's the story, is that I'm investing in postdocs who go into their PhD programs or working with their principal investigators at their universities in order to become entrepreneurs. They're looking for that technology. They want to work with the PIs on the technology that they can then spin out into a commercial enterprise. And so I'm looking for that. And we have some here today. Maji and Datapond are examples of postdocs who worked on technology and spinning them out. And that's amazing. But we need 10 times more, right, than that. So I'd love to see just more of the universities stronger in attracting talent who want to commercialize the technologies out of their labs.
Thank you. And we ran out of time, so just to summarize, guys, we don't have any excuse yet. We've seen there is money because there are an investor that came from Tel Aviv, more money from Tel Aviv to here, and we have an investor that came from San Francisco, from the Bay Area here to invest in water, and there is, and Christoph always came from Germany to look for water startups, and we have the government here and the Israel Innovation Authority that want to invest. Sorry?
From Jerusalem.
From Jerusalem. Came especially here because they are looking to invest in companies, and we see that there are successful companies. So there are success in this market. So if you have a dream, and if you want to build a company, and if you have an idea, just do it. Just start. Thank you very much.
Okay, toda. Thank you so much, everybody.